Then you're going to times it by GDS. GDS is given to you in the question, usually around 20 to 30%. So 32% is GDS. Make sure that you minus the tax. It's a pig minus the tax. You need to minus the taxes. If you forget this, then you lose the question. Taxes, also per year, is $1,800. So right now, everything has to be in the same frequency. So if your income is per year, your taxes also has to be per year. And when you find the payment, that payment also going to be per year. So let's do the normal math, regular math, easy one, okay? Without touching any of this stuff. So 50,000, you're going to times it by 32. Press percentage on top of your recall button, okay? Press equals, you'll see 16,000. Okay, and then you're going to do minus the 1,800 out of it. So I got 16,000 minus 1,800 equals 14,200. That is my payment per what? That's a payment per year, right? So that's my payments per year. So that's 14,200. That's my payment per year. What is the payments frequency in this question? Payments to be made monthly. So if my payments are monthly, can I take that 14,000 and put it here? I have to divide it by 12. So always check your payments frequency. So I'll take the 14,200 and I will divide it by 12 to get it to monthly payments, and it comes up to 1,183.33, lots of threes in there, right? So while I have this payment, I can put it straight up in here, okay? So I can take that payment of 1833.33, whatever that is, right? I can just put it straight up in here, okay? Why would I increase it? Why would I not increase it? Because I used just a regular math to find that payment. I did not use my buttons to find the payment. Okay, that's the difference between the things. So usually we keep that payment as is. So while I have it on my screen, I'll just do plus minus to make it negative, and then press PMT, just put it into the payment, and that's it. You're done with this. Okay? If you increase it to 34 cents, it's not a big deal. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay? So I'll put it in here because I found the payments. What am I looking for? As a lender, what am I looking for? I said, okay, let me see how much money can I lend you, which is your present value, based on your personal income. So you found the payment, now you can find your PV. Let's start with the J's. What do we have? J2 equals 5. J2 equals 5. Do the conversion. We don't have space for that, but that's good. So 5 shift nom, 2 shift P by shift effective, 12 shift P by shift nom. It will come up to 4.9486. Okay, so we've done the conversion. It should come up on your screen as 4.9486. I by P by crossed off. And it's for how many years? What do we have? It's for 25 years. So you're going to do 25 shift N. Okay, will come up as 300. Do that right now. Okay, so 25 shift N will come up as a 300 in there. Next one, skip the PV payment. If you haven't plugged in, plug it in now. Or shoots in. Future value. 0 plus minus, don't skip this, okay? And then you press PV. Let's press PV and see how much it comes up to. So my PV came up to 203,459.97, okay? So 203,459. This is my constraint based on his personal income. So what is the lender going to do now? What is he going to do? He's going to take that as the answer. He's going to take it and compare that with the first number, right? Oh, by the way, we forget to do this. So when you did the first step, you should have looked back at the answers to see if it's the lowest one. And it's definitely not the lowest one. It's one of the highest ones, right? So for that reason, you knew that you would have to do this step number 2. Okay, so 203 is way lower than 220. Okay, it's lower than 220. So that means that should be the one that they will lend you. Okay, so it's the option number 4 as the answer. Okay, you should like them. They're not difficult questions. Okay. Question number 3. A young executive has applied for her bank for a mortgage loan to enable her to purchase a house. Her income is $55,000 per year. The bank informs that they will apply 32% gross debt service ratio. So far, I have income. I have a GDS. Okay. And the current mortgage rate is 7% compounded semi-annually for 20 years amortization, given that taxes will be $2,000. So I have all the information I need for step number 2. I have the income, GDS, I have taxes. Okay. And the mortgage payments to be made monthly. So what's the maximum mortgage loan the bank will grant you? So payments are monthly. Okay. Do you have anything in this question with the loan to value ratio? As I said, all I can see is my GDS. All I can see is my taxes. And I can see the income of $55,000, right? So I have everything I need for this side, but I have absolutely nothing for step number 1. So guess what? It happens. Sometimes on the exam, they give you absolutely nothing for step number 1. And all they want you to do is work on your step number 2 and say, based on your income, how much money would they lend her? That's it. So if you don't have that loan to value ratio, which is a high percentage in 70s and 80s, that means they don't want you to do step 1. So all they want you to look is for this. Payments are monthly. So let's find the payment as an annual payment first, and then we're going to divide it by 12. Okay. Pull up the information for me. So what do we have in here? We have income of $55,000 per what? Per year. So that's good. Keep it as is. GDS is 32%. That's good. Minus the taxes. Those taxes of $2,000 also per what? Per year. So what we're going to do right now, let's do 55,000. Okay. And then what are we going to do? We're going to times it by 32 percentage button. Press equals. It will come up to 17,600. Okay, I should do it this way. Okay, 17,600 and minus the taxes. So minus of $2,000 out of it. So minus 2,000. Press equals, and my payment came up to 15,600. So that's my payment per year. Now, what you do now, you look and see what's my payment frequency in the question. Not always going to be monthly, so you know. Okay, and this one so far is monthly, so divided by 12, and it comes up to $1,300. So that is my payment. Because we did not use this site to find the payments, keep that payment as is. Okay, so 1,300 plus minus PMT. Okay, so I'll just plug it in as is. I will just press plus minus, press PMT. Okay, What else are we doing? We're looking for present value because we're looking to see how much money the lender will lend you right now. Okay, so let's pull up the J's. The J is given to us as 7 compounded semi-annually, so J2 equals 7. So start with the comfort zone, do the NPAPM first. 7 shift norm, 2 shift EIR shift effective, 12 shift EIR shift norm. Mine came up to 6.900 something, right? So 6.9. So I've done it in NPAPM, so I can cross off my IVR, PIR. Okay, finish the side. The N is for 20 years. So 20 shift N, it will come up as 240 months. Okay. PV, you skip it. Payment, if you haven't plugged it in, plug it in now. Future value, don't skip it. So put 0 plus minus future value. Okay. And then what are you looking for? Press PV. So when you're looking for present value, it came up as 168 positive 982.45. Okay. And that is your constraint based on somebody's income. Look back at the answers, and it's right here, right? Option number 1. Not bad. So I want you to like those questions. They are good questions. And plus it teaches you to do your own calculations too, okay? So now we're gonna do a little bit of commercial stuff in here just to see what's the difference. It's pretty much the same thing. On the commercial side, it's like residential side, you'll do exact same thing. You're still gonna look for the property value. You're gonna look and see based on the house value or a property, how much money would I lend them based on that. And then I would look instead of the personal income, I'm gonna look at the income of the company, right, of the business itself, and I'm gonna use the DCR. I'll show you what that is, okay? So what will be the maximum loan granted on the commercial building with a lending value of, so they give us a lending value, okay, so we have that, 3.2 million and 50, and they're yielding a net operating income of 360. So they give us the income, but they gave it to us per building, per year, which is good. Lending requires a debt coverage ratio. So you see that debt coverage ratio, that's something new. You haven't seen that before. A debt coverage ratio, it's not a percentage. It's always going to be given to you as a number. And I'll say it again, it's not a percentage. GDS was 20 to 30%. That was the percentages. On a residential, it's all percentages. On a commercial, that is a number. Okay? So what you're going to be doing when you're looking for your step number 2, we're not going to have personal taxes anymore. And we're not going to have that GDS between 20 to 30%. We're not going to have any of that stuff. We will have the DCR. DCR is a number that you're going to take your income and divide it by. Okay? So that's what we're going to do right now. So loan to value ratio is given to you. So that means, what does that mean to you? That means we can do our first step 2. So if loan to value ratio is given to you, that means you can always do that easy step. Okay? And then you will take that and you will compare it with your second information. Okay? Loan to be amortized 25 years with annual payments. You see payments are different. And the interest rate of 13 compounded annually. So I know in this question, my payments are annually, okay? Once a year. So let's pull up this stuff. We need lending value and we need the loan to value ratio to find out how much the mortgage could be based on the property value. So the lending value in that question is 3.2 million. 3,250,000, okay, times it by 80% of a loan to value ratio. Okay, let's see how much that comes up to. 3.25. Separated with all the commas in there, multiply by 80%. Mine came up as a 2,600,000. Okay, so that's what I got. So this is my constraint based on the property value, right? Did you get the same one? 2.6 million. After you finish step 1, let's not forget what do we do now? You look back at the answers to see if it's even there. It's not even there. So probably that's not the answer then. Okay. So now we're gonna work on the next step. We're gonna work on your. To find the payment, we need to find, so step number 2 is basically, you need to find your present value. That's what that is, right? So you need to find the present value and see how much the lender will give you based on the property value. That's what we're looking for. Step 1, and that is your step 2. Okay. What do we do? We need to pull up. No more pigs. Pig formula comes only with residential stuff. So right now, I'm crossing off this second formula because it's not the pig formula. It's a commercial lender. So you're going to use the income of the company per year and divide it by that small number that's given to you. Okay. So let's see what happens in here. So we're going to find the income in here. Net operating income per year is 360. They're always going to give it to you as a net operating income. Okay, so that's good. 360,000. And because it's commercial, you will divide. So commercial, you divide. Residential, you multiply. Okay, 360,000 divided by, and what are we dividing by? Whatever that small number is given to you. So in this case, is 1.2. So when you do that, let's do it right now. Press 360,000, regular equals, and then press 1.2, and then press equals. Don't press percentage. Okay, and it should come up to 300,000. And you tell me what this is. Income is per year. DCR, okay, equals 300,000 of a payment per a year. So again, that's your payment per year. Yearly payment, right? That's what that is. Okay, yearly payment of 300,000. Then what do we do? You look back and see, so what is my payments frequency? If the payments were monthly, then I would take that 300,000, I would divide it by 12. But in this case, my payments are per year. So what do? You're gonna just plug it in as is. So while it's on my calculator, what I'm gonna do right now, I'm just gonna do I'm gonna press plus minus key, right? And then press BMT. I'm just gonna plug it in as is. That's all I'm gonna do right now. Plus minus BMT. Okay, I'll plug it in. Okay, so 2.6 million was not the answer, so we know it should be this one. I found the payment, now I have to find my present value. So manually pull up your J's. What do we have? We have 13 compounded annually. Okay, so far everything is annual. We're happy people here. It's up to you if you want to do the NPAPM, if you want to plug them in. I'll just do the old-fashioned way, just to remind you that we can still do it that way too when you're happy, okay? Because we are happy here. All right, so you can still do it that way, or you can just plug in NPAPM, and that 13 is not going to change on you, okay? And is for how many years? 25 years, so 25 shift N. It'll come up as 25. It's not going to change on you, okay? And the future value is plus minus 0. So if you're not doing the impairment, you start with PYR, so 1 shift PYR. Then do 25 shift and it will come up as 25. It's not changes to anything else. 13 IYR, skip PV, 300,000 plus minus PNT. So hopefully you already plugged it in, and 0 plus minus future value. Press PD. Press PD to see how much it comes up to. So my mortgage, based on this income, came up as 2198, 995.49. Okay, so this is what I got. So 2198, 995. So 2,198. And what do they want? Yes, it's right there. So it's perfect. It's exactly the same. If you increase that payment by 1 cent, you would just be a little bit off, and that's it. Okay, so option number 4 is what they want. This is lower. This is lower than that, right? So for that reason, we're choosing this one. Not bad. Let's do another commercial. The borrower approaches the Ripley Finance Company about the mortgage on the income-producing property. The property produces the annual net operating income of $112,500. The lending value of the property is $880,000, and Ripley will only lend a maximum of 75% loan-to-value ratio and requires a maximum debt coverage ratio of 1.125. Ripley terms is J12 equals 12. Terms and amortization is 15 years. Monthly payments, given constraints, calculate the maximum allowed loan. Rounded to the nearest. It's not the payment, it's always the answers, right? Okay, so do we have enough information for step number 1? Do we? Do we have a loan-to-value ratio? Do we have a high percentage? Yes, we do. In here, we have a 75% loan-to-value ratio, okay? We have a debt coverage ratio as a small number as 1.125. Do you see this? So that's a commercial side. But let's finish this step number 1. Let's find the lending value. Let's multiply it by loan-to-value ratio. So what do we have? We need to find the lending value. Here it says that we have 880,000 lending value. We're going to times it by 75%. Okay, let's see how much it comes up to. Comes up to 660. That's what I got. Let me know if it's the same. And that is the first constraint based on your property value. They said we'll lend you 660,000 based on the property, right? So that's the first mortgage that the lender considered to give you. Next one. What's the next step? You look to see if that 660 was here, but is that the lowest one? Because I don't want to do all this work unless I check on that 660. And I see there is 624, which is lower, and 634, which is lower. So I'm like, okay, I guess I have to do this side and see what happens. Okay? Don't automatically cross things off as not an answer, because there's something that is still higher than this. So you never know what we get in here. Okay? But keep it as a consideration now. So next one, what are we going to do? We're going to start with, we have to find manually the payments. What formula would you use? Would you use the PIG formula in here? Yes or no? Why not? Because PIG is only for the residential. Residential you multiply, commercial you divide. So commercial, it's simple. There's only 2 things. It's the income and a DCR. So what is the income that's given to you? I can see the income is given to us as 112,005. Okay? Because it's commercial, I divided. And I have the small number, not a percentage number, as 1.125. Be very careful how they give you those numbers, okay? So let's find the payments. Divided by 1.125 equals, my payment came up to 100,000, okay? And that is the payments per what? Per year. So that is my payment per year. What's the payments frequency in these questions? Payments to be made monthly. So if my payments are monthly, okay, so if my payments are monthly, what will you do with this one? Then you have to take this annual payment, you're going to divide it by 12. So do that right now, divided by 12 plus equals, and my payment came up as 8333.33. Lots of threes in there, right? 8,333.33 something, okay? So this is what I got. What you do, it's up to you. You can increase it if you wanted to, but I would keep it as is. And that payment, I would just plug it in here. So 8,333.33. Okay, this is what I would do, right? So I would just keep it as is. I would just press plus, minus, and I would just press PMT, and I would just plug it in. That's it, okay? What are we looking for? We're looking for the present value. How much the lender can give you right now, right? Based on this property income. So pull up the J's. What do we have in here? J12 equals 12, okay? We are definitely happy because our compounding matches everything, our payments frequency. So it's up to you if you want to do the impairment or if you want to cross them off. I'll just manually gonna plug them in just to remind you how to do that. So I'll put the 12 PYR and I'll put 12 as my interest rate in here. And it's for 15 years. So you're gonna do 15 and then shift N. And when you do that, it will come up as 180 because it will multiply that by PYR. Future value 0, don't forget. Okay, so if I'm doing it manually, if you've done the impairment, good for you. Cross off your IYR PYR. If you do it manually, start with PYR. So I'll do 12 shift PYR, okay? Then I'll go back. 15 shift N will multiply it, so it will come up as 180, okay? IYR, I'll put 12 IYR. PV, I'm skipping. Payment already plugged it in. But if you haven't, there's your chance to put it in. 0 plus minus future value. Plug them all in, then press your PV, okay? My present value came up to 694, 347.19. Okay, this is what I got. 694,347. So put yourself in the lender's shoes. And you said, look, I have 2 different constraints to look for. This is based on the income you can afford up to 694,000, and this one is 660. You know how students get caught in class? A lot of times they find this number, they look back in the answer and says, oh my gosh, it's not in there. Where did I make a mistake? It's not you. Sometimes UBC don't put some numbers in there, okay? But it's a good reminder for you. Don't look straight at the answers, okay? This is your constraint based on property income, right? That's what that is. This is your constraint based on property value. So your job is to compare them and see which one is the lowest one. You see, when we've done step number 1 and we checked that 660, it was not the lowest one. We had to do the other side. And when we finished this side, it came up higher than the first one. So guess what? They just made you do all this extra work for nothing. But yeah, 660 is the answer still, right? You understand why? Because it's lower than 694. So that's how it is. Not bad. You should like it. Question 6. What will be the maximum loan granted on a commercial building, so commercial, with the lending value of 4.2 million and 50,000 and the yield of net operating income of 212,005 per year, where the lender requires a debt coverage ratio of 1.3, 65% loan to value ratio, and the loan is over 25 years, annual payments, interest is 6.5 compounded annually, rounded up to the nearest $1,000. Okay, so do we have enough information for this step number 1? Let's see what we have in here. Do we have a loan to value ratio? Yes, we do. Do we have a lending value? Yes, we do. So let's pull up. Let's start with option number 1 in here. Lending value is 4,250,000. You multiply it by 65,000. Okay, let's see how much it comes up to. Times it by 65. Okay, mine came up to 27,62,500 in there. Okay, so 2,762,000. So that's my first constraint that I got out of this question. And what do I do with this number? 2762. I look back at the answers and I see that it's in here, but I see also we have 1.5, 1.9. It's not the lowest one. So I am obligated to do the second side. Okay, so what type of mortgage is this? What kind of question? That is a commercial stuff. So if it's commercial, that means we have to use not the PIG formula, but divide formula, right? So I'm going to cross off the PIG, okay? And I'll use my divide formula. So I'll take the income divided by DCR. So that's the formula I'm going to be using right now. Okay, commercial, you divide. So what's the income in the question? Annual income per year is 212,005, so that's good. Okay, what else? If it's commercial, you divide it by a small number. So in this case, number is given to you as 1.3. And let's see how much the payment comes up to. So 212,500, don't forget about the 500, divided by 1.3, okay? My payment came up to 163,461.53. That's what I got as my payment per what? Per year, okay? That is my payment per year, okay? Payment per year, 163,461. What is the payments frequency in the question? They said that they want the payments to be annual payments. Do you see the word annual payments in here? With the annual payments. So if my payments are annually, what does that mean to you? What do we do with that number? We keep it as is, but what we can do, we can just press plus minus and then press BMT. So let's do that right now. Let's make it negative. Let's press BMT and we'll go straight back in there. So 163,461.53 plus minus BMT. So this is what I've done. I plugged it in as is, okay? If that was monthly, you would divide it by 12. Quarterly, divide by 4. Okay, payment is it. What are we looking for? We're looking to see how much the lender will lend them based on this payment, right? What's the present value? That's what we're looking for. So let's pull up the J's. We have 6.5 compounded annually. That's good. So 6.5, J1. We are matching. So it's up to you how you're going to do this. I'm just going to do the lazy way again. 6.5 and 1. I'll do the sandwich formula. And it's for how many years? 25 years. And the future value is 0. So when you do 25 shift in, it will stay at 25 because it will multiply by 1. Future value is 0 plus minus. Okay, so let's plug it in. If you do Nathan Pepins, do this. Cross off your I by R, P by R. I'm starting to do the sandwich formula. So 1 shift P by R. And then I do 25 shift N. It stays at 25. It should not change. I by R, 6.5 I by R. Skip the PV. Payment. I hope you already plugged that in. You can always recall and see if it's there. And then 0 plus minus future value. Okay, press PV. My present value came up to 1,993,88369. Okay, perfect. So this is my second constraint, and that is constrained based on the income. And my job is to check both of those constraints and see which one is the lowest one. Okay, so this is definitely lower than that. And the answers, they want it to be to the nearest 1,000, so it could be higher, lower, it doesn't matter. But if I look at it, I can see that that's my option number 1 is the closest one to the answers in there. Okay, so option 1. But make sure that you compare those two constraints. You have to. I'm telling you, you have to like this question. So what we've done so far is the foundational question. That's how they usually look like on the exam. So they'll give you one side, and the second side, you have to compare them, and that's it. They usually like to give you one on commercial and one on residential. Let's do one more. Mombasa Logging Company wants to borrow the money to build a head office building in Victoria. The company plans to occupy 1 floor of the building and rent the rest. The project is of the building's net operating income is 5 years will be $637,500 per year. Current mortgage rates are G1 equals 14, 30 years amortization, quarterly payments. Do you see that? And then he feels that this Mombasa Logan is optimistic and their net operating income and it has therefore said a required debt coverage ratio of 1.5. Oh my gosh, there's so much information. Keep it simple. My first question is, do you have anything to do with the loan to value ratio in this question? If you scan it through, if you don't even read the whole thing, do you see that anything 70, 65, 80%? Nothing. I don't see a lending value. I don't see the loan to value ratio. So what are you going to do with step number 1? Okay? You're going to skip it. And that's what we're going to do right now. So there's nothing for you that's given to you to do your step 1. So for that reason, they're only looking for your income side, and that's all they want. Commercial or residential, how do you know? Look back at the question. If you have that small number, 1 point something, that's your debt coverage ratio. That's commercial side, commercial building. It's easy to recognize it. What do you do in a commercial? You take the income and then you divide by that DCR. What's the income? The income is given to us is, don't worry about the 5 years, just the income per year. That's what we need. 637.5. Okay, so pull that out. So we have 6 37,500 is your income per year. Then you divide it by whatever that DCR is giving to you, 1.5 number, not a percentage. Let's see how much that payment comes up to. See, I forgot about the 500. Divided by 1.5. Mine came up to 425,000. If you did not get this, check, make sure that you have the 500 on your screen, because that's a mistake I made. So what is this 425? That is your payment per what? It's your payment per year, right? So 425, that's your payment per year. Is that what you want? Back in the question, let's see what's the payments frequency. Payments to be made quarterly. So if payments are quarterly, okay, then what does that mean to you? If they're quarterly, that means that payment has to be divided by 4. So you take 425,000 divided by 4, and that gives you the quarterly payments. 106, 250, okay? So that is the quarterly payments, 106, 250 plus minus BMT. So while you have it on your screen, you can just press plus minus and then press BMT, okay? And that payment is already in. Next, so what do we do? We find the present value. I hope you're already bored by now. That's a good sign, okay? Pull up your J's in the question. What do we have in here? It's J1 equals 14. So they give it to us as J1 equals 14. Are we happy? Nope. You better do your conversion. So let's do that as a step number 1. And then the N is for 30 years. I'll just hold it up. 30 years shift N, okay? 0 plus minus future value, and the I by R will be done after we finish this. Okay, so let's do this. So 14 shift norm, 1 shift P by R shift effective, 4 shift P by R shift norm. And she convert it to 4. So my conversion come up to 13.3197. Okay, so 13.3197, blah, blah, blah. So that's the conversion. I by R, P by R crossed off. Let's do the N. Let's see what happens when you do 30 shift N, okay? It's gonna come up as 120. Okay, because it multiplies 30 by 4, right? Multiplies by that P by R, which is 4 at this point, okay? So you get the 120. Payment, hopefully you already plugged it in. If not, that's your chance. Future value, 0 plus minus future value. Okay, that's PV. Let's see how much that mortgage came up to. 3,128,115.32. Okay, so this is what we got. That's the constraint. That's what the banks will look for when it comes to the income, right? What do we have? This one is the closest one. They say to the nearest 1,000, so that means it can decrease or increase, doesn't matter. In this case, that's the closest one to our answer. So option number 1, and then you're done. Okay, let's do more. So by now you should like these questions, okay? Because now you're not going to like me. It is the easier questions, but sometimes they'll give you weird stuff like this. Actually, go to star next to this one. This is a common one. We see this question quite often in the exam. So the only thing that they do with this question, they confuse you because they give you lots and lots of extra information. That's the only thing, okay? Look what happened. The property is listed for 133.33. Doesn't matter how much it was listed for. Doesn't matter how much it was purchased for. Doesn't matter what the market value is. So this is what they do. They give you lots and lots of numbers in here, but then the lending value, which is LV, is 120. So just pay attention to what we want. As long as they say there's a lending value of, okay, that's the number we'll be using in here, okay? Then what else do we have in here? Loan to value ratio, is that what we're looking for? Yes, we are. They say, what is the loan to value ratio? So in this question, they reverse the question. This is, what's that LTV, right? So how much this one we should give you to? So they give you the lending value, okay? And then they give you the mortgage. And here the mortgage is 84,000, okay? So I know there's a lot of highlighting things, but you have lending value, you have a mortgage, okay? So you have the mortgage and you have a lending value, okay? And they say, so what's the loan to value ratio? Look at the answers. Do you see how they all such high percentages in 70s and 80s and 60s? That's another indication. That's your math class number 6. Okay, so this is why, I know it says it's an easy question, but this is why people don't like this class as much, because you need to take the same formula and you have to flip it. You have to change it, okay? So far, we've been looking for mortgages. When we take the lending value, we just multiply it by your loan to value ratio. Simple. But what if I have to find the loan to value ratio? Then what happens then? This is when we go back to the real math, school math, and we need to learn how to convert the formulas. You remember in the beginning when we started the class, I said you have a cheat sheet, okay, on your second page, I think. That's where it explains you how to do this. But let me just make it simple for you, okay? Just watch me. Let's just do a simple math, okay? Okay, is that easy enough? If you do 2 times 5, that gives you 10. Okay, so that's exactly how we have it. So if I'm looking for this 5, then what do I do? Okay, so if I'm looking for the 5, what do? I take my 10 and I divide it by 2, and that takes me back to 5. Do you see this? Okay, if you didn't get that part, I'll explain you in different ways. But basically what you need to do, you need to take your mortgage, okay, and you need to divide it by your LV, right, which is 2. So if that's 2 and that's 10, then I'll take my, and that gives me the loan to value ratio. Okay, so I basically, instead of this, I put the numbers in here so you can see. So instead of 10 is my mortgage, okay, I just swap them, and then instead of the 2, I put my lending value. So it's the mortgage divided by the lending value that gives the loan to value ratio. This is how I remember that, and that's how I do my math thing, but I'm also going to show you a different way. So this is what we have to do. We have to take our mortgage, which is, what is the mortgage in the question? 84,000, right? So 84,000 is the mortgage. So we take the 84,000 mortgage, we divide it by lending value, which is 120,000, and that would give you the loan to value ratio. That's it. This is all you would do in this question, okay? Let me show you this formula, how to convert it in a different way. So maybe if that did not help you, then I'll show you a different way, okay? How do we convert stuff like this? Now, in basic math, I'm not a teacher of the math, but I can show you what happens. This equals, I always say, think of it as a border, okay? Think of it as a border between US and Mexico. I don't know, something, right? The border. Right now, if I'm looking for this loan to value ratio, if it's on this side, it has to stay there. And everything that is attached to this loan to value ratio has to move across the border, across the equals, on the opposite side of the equals, and it has to move or change the sign. So if it's multiplication, it have to move as divide. Okay? If that was plus, it would move as minus. Okay? So you always have to change the sign in there. So basically, if I'm looking for the loan to value ratio, so if I'm looking for this LTV, okay, I have to keep it on the same side as is, and I will take this one and I will move it to the mortgage, because mortgage is already there hanging out in Mexico, right? So this is what I would do. I would take I would take my mortgage, I will keep it in here, and I would take my lending value and I will move it with the divide sign, right? So mortgage divided by the lending value, and that will give me loan to value ratio, okay? You can watch Melanie's videos on explanation like this, but this is just a regular math. Just remember, if we're looking for something that is something else attached to this, that something else has to move, okay? And it has to move across and it has to change the sign. So it's the mortgage divided by the lending value. That's what will be left in here, okay? So do the math for me. Let's figure out how much this one comes up to. So you take 84,000 divided by 120,000, comes up to 70. So it will come up as, 1 second. It will come up as 0.70, right? That's that thing. So that comes up as a 70%, right? So you just have to times it by 100 if you want, but that's 70. So if you just want to see it as the number, that's what you do. It will come up as 70, okay? Percent. Another easy 2 questions. An individual is planning to purchase a property that has a listed price for $69,000. Doesn't matter what it was listed for. The proposed purchase price was $67,000. Doesn't matter. The lender will apply the lending value. So that's the one that matters to us, of $66,000. How large will the down payment be if the lender insists of the maximum loan to value ratio of 80%? So we have a loan to value ratio, okay? Loan to value ratio of 80%. So we have 2 numbers so far in here, and they're looking for the down payment. This is not a common question in the exam. I'll say it again, not a common question. So don't stress out over this one, okay? So what do we have in here? So if we had to pull up out of the question the stuff in here, okay? They're looking for money, so not the loan to value ratio. We have what do we have? We have a lending value. So we have all those 2 things we're looking for. We're looking for the down payment. Okay, so let's pull up the stuff in here. Lending value is 66,000. Okay, 66,000 times it by, what's the loan to value ratio of 80%? Okay, and that will give us the mortgage. So let's find the mortgage right now. So take 66,000 times it by 80%, press equals. The mortgage will come up to 52,800. So that's the mortgage. Okay. So far it makes sense. So what we just found is the mortgage amount. Look at the answers, nothing close to that. Oh yeah, they actually put that one for you, but don't be tricked on that. They're not looking for mortgage. They say what's the amount of the down payment. So in this question, that's why I say it's not common to say what will be the down payment in this question. How much is he buying this house for? He's buying the house for, which one would you use? A purchase price or the proposed purchase price? Which one would you use in here? Okay? You're going to use the proposed purchase price of 67,000. So you're going to take 67,000 and then you're going to minus that 52,800 out of it and see how much deposit you need to put on this house. So while I have that as a negative, so positive number in front of me, I'll just do minus 67,000 and it comes out to 14,200. So 14,200, that's my deposit. Okay. And why do we use the purchase price? Because whatever you purchase for, it's not how much it was listed for. So you had to figure out which one to use. Okay. So option number 1, not a common question. Don't worry about this one too much. Okay. Question number 10. If an applicant for the mortgage loan has an income of $1,000 per month. So watch for this. We have an income per month. Okay. Taxes estimated $600 per year. Do you see any problem in here? If we had to put something into the formula in here, remember what I told you? Everything has to be consistent. Everything has to be in the same frequency. If I have an income, it has to be per year, taxes per year. Or if I had an income per month, my taxes also had to be per month, and my payment would come up as a monthly payment. Okay? So make sure that they are always in the same frequency. That's the thing in here. Right? Permitted gross debt service ratio of 30%. So we have that. And what could be applicant afford to pay for the monthly principal and the interest? So this fancy word for the monthly principal and the interest is the monthly payment. They could have just said monthly payment, but no, they like fancy stuff. So they're looking for the payments that is a monthly one. So it's up to you how do you want to do this question. You can make everything yearly or you can make everything monthly. So it's easy to keep everything monthly. So let's just do 2 different ways. So if I get my income as 1,000 per month, times it by 30%, and minus the taxes, how much would I minus? This is 600 per year. So do that right now. Let's take 600 divided by 12. And taxes per month will be $50. Okay? So that's one way of doing that. Or you could have taken this income, make it per year. So you could have made it as a 12,000, okay, times it by 30%. And minus the 600, and whatever you got in there, you would just divide it by 12 at the end to get to the monthly payment, right? So you could have done in 2 different ways, but as long as you understand what happens. How did I get that 50? I took that 600 divided by 12 to get it per month, right? So as long as my income and my taxes are in the same frequency, then it's good. So do it right now. You can do both of those versions, doesn't really matter. I'll do that one first. So 1,000 times it by 30% minus $50 comes up to 250. Okay, so 250 is my answer. If I wanted to do this one, I would do 12,000. Okay, times it by 30%. Okay, minus 600 plus equals, it will come up to 3,000. Oh my gosh, sorry, wait. 3,000 divided by 12, it will come up as 250. So same thing, okay? How you get that 250 is up to you. Doesn't really matter as long as you kept them in the same frequency. That's the only thing with this question that you have to watch for, okay? Okay, this is the one that you're not gonna like. I'm sorry. And it's not too common, but it comes up on the exam. So let's listen. Let's see what we can do with this question. But it's just that conversion of formulas. That's the part that people don't like. We have a potential borrower with an annual income of 48,000, property taxes of 2016. Per annum, has been told that by the mortgage lender that the largest loan available will be 177,667. What is the maximum gross debt service ratio? What is the maximum GDS? So they're looking for this one. That is allowed by the lender, given that the loan has a monthly payments and has been written at 5% compounded semi-annually with the 25 years amortization. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of information. By the end of the day, what they're looking for that GDS. So that means we will have to work with this formula. We'll forget about the commercial stuff because you can't have two in the same question, right? So it's residential stuff, but we'll have to do that conversion. We have to change this formula, right? We have to transform it from payments to find the GDS. I'll show you how to do this, okay? Let's just finish this question. See, do we have anything to do with the loan to valuation in this question? Do we have any of that stuff? Nothing, right? So you can just skip that step number one. We have nothing to do here, but we'll have to work on this side, okay? That's what we have to do in here. Okay, so what are we going to do in this question? We have to convert the formula in the first place. How do we convert it? When you do formulas like this, okay, there's a difference between multiply and divide, and there's a difference between a minus and plus, okay? What do you do first? You always start with moving your plus and minuses. That's the first thing you have to move on the other side of the, remember the border? The equal sign. So basically, we have to move the taxes. So anything with plus minus signs, we have to move those ones first across the equal sign, okay? When you move them, you have to move them with the opposite sign. So if it's negative now, then you have to move it as on this side. So basically, you'll have, on this side, you'll have your payment, okay? And then you would add the taxes to it, plus tax, okay? That is the first thing that you would do to convert the formula, okay? My gosh, it's so crooked, I'm sorry. That's what happens when you're left-handed, okay? Okay, so payment plus tax equals income times by GDS. So this is what we've done so far. We took the taxes, we move it right here, okay? That was the first step that we did. We took it, we move it on this side, okay? Step number two, what are we looking for? We're still looking for that GDS, okay? So that means I need to take this income and I have to move it now across the border, right? The other side of the, to Mexico, and I have to move it with the opposite sign. So if it's multiply, it has to move as divide. So I'll take it and I'll move it here as divide. So I don't know if you guys use divide as the line, but that's how I use it. So I'll take my payment plus tax, I'll keep it as is. I'll keep my equal sign, my GDS, I'll keep it as is, and I'll move my income, okay, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm moving my income on the other side, so that my line like this is divide, right? So payment plus tax divided by income, okay? And that's it. And now my GDS is on its own, and that's what I want. I want to have it, if I'm looking for GDS, that means everything has to be on the other side of the equals, and GDS have to be by itself, okay? So how we convert it in two different steps. First plus minuses, you move them, okay, with the opposite side, and because this income was multiplied, you convert it as divide. So now what we're going to do, that's what we're looking for. Your job is to fill in this formula with the information that's given to you, okay? So let's see what we have. And those questions is always the payments that's going to be missing. So we have to find it. But let's pull out the taxes and the income. What do we have in here? Taxes are given to you per what? Property taxes of 2016 per annum. That's perfect. Everything has to be here per a year. Income per year, taxes, and the payment also has to be per year. Watch out for this. So the taxes right now in this question will be, how much, sorry? 2000, I'll just put it here, 2016. Okay, so taxes are given to me. Income in this question is, where's the income? 48,000. So I'll put that income of 48,000 right here. Okay, so I have this, but what's missing is my payment. So in those questions, this is where you have to find your payment. So how are we going to find the payments? As we always do. We're going to pull up all the information, okay? And we're going to find your payment right now because we'll need this payment to plug it into the formula. It's 5% compounded semi-annually, so that is a J2 equals 5. Payments frequency in this question says to be made monthly, okay? And it's for 25 years amortization. And what else do we have in here? Present value. Loan to be 177,667. So that's your present value. 177,667. 0 plus minus future value, and I'm looking for my payment. Okay. So what we're gonna do right now? Do the comfort zone. Do the conversions. Cross off IR, PYR. So let's do this right now. Mine came up to 4.9486. Okay, so 4.9486. That's when I converted from J2 to J12. So IR, PYR is crossed off. So I finished those two steps. I can cross them off. And if I do 25 shift end, will come up as 300 in there, right? That's what you got. Good. PV is your loan, 177,667 PV, 0 plus minus future value. And then you press your PMT and see what happens in there. Mine came up to negative 1,033.32. Okay, so that's my payment. So 1033.32. That is a payment per month. Your PYR is 12. Everything is monthly, so that payment is per month. Can I take this monthly payment and plug into my formula? Where my taxes are annually, my income is annually. So what do? When you find the payment, and that's how they treat people. So when you find the payments, you need to take that payment and you have to multiply by what? Multiply by 12. Why? Because I want to make sure that I have my payment as per year. So when I do this, the payment will come up as a 12,399.84. And my payment right now shows me that is a negative payment of 12,399.84. Is that what you got? Yes, you did. Okay. So that payment, you can increase it to the next highest end. Yeah, you should have increased it. We forgot, right? But it's fine. So just because we did not increase it, you will see that we might be a little bit, couple cents lower, whatever that is. So when we find a payment like this, we always do increase it. Sorry, I forgot. But it's okay. So you got the payment, you multiply it by 12. Actually, no, let's do that correctly. So let's do, let's increase the payment. Recall PMT. Okay, so it was 32. So let's do, instead of this payment, let's take the normal payment. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, everybody makes mistakes. So 1033.33. Okay, so 1033.33. That's your payment. Monthly times it by 12. Okay, let's see how much it comes up to. So 1033.33 times it by 12, it comes up to 12,399.96. Okay, now this is the payment per what? This is per year, right? This is the yearly payment. This is perfect. We want this payment to be per year. Now, when you put this payment in, make sure that this payment is positive. Because if you had it as a negative number, and then you were trying to add the taxes to it, they will just minus one number out of the other one. Not good. So make sure that when you do this, times it by 12, do it as a positive payment, okay? Because you want to add it in here. So now you take this 12,399.96. What do we have on your screen right now? 96. And then you add the 2,000 to this. So while we have it plus regular plus 2,000.16, press regular equals, comes up as 14,412, and then divided by 48,000. So divided by 48. Okay? And my GDS came up as a 30%. Okay? It comes up as a 0.30, but that shows you that is a 30%. So option number 4. Did you understand how we do this? 12,399.96, okay, plus 2016, press equals, and then divided by 48,000. Okay, let's do one more. I know you don't like those ones. Nobody likes them. Same idea, same question, okay? Same, I promise. There's not much difference in here. Question 12, following the information, calculate the maximum annual income. So now instead of the GDS, they're looking for the annual income. So if you look at our formula, what do they want? They want the income. They want the income portion of it. And it's not a commercial, it's going to be residential. You'll see it has a GDS in there somewhere. Yeah, it does. Okay, so I'll cross off the commercial stuff, okay? It's not about commercial. What do we have? We have a loan of 42,005. So that's your present value. It will help you to find the payment. Okay. What else? We have the rate of 11.75. 11.75 compounded semi-annually. 25 years amortization. Then we have 5 years term, which you'll never use. Monthly payments. Okay. And that's enough information to find a payment when we need to. But let's do this. Let's convert the formula first. So we're looking for the income, right? Is that what we're looking for? Income? Okay. So you're going to tell me what do you do. If I want to have this income on its own, then GDS and taxes have to move. Okay. They're moving to Mexico right now. Okay. So how do they move? Which one do you move first? You take the plus minus ones first. So taxes comes with minus. If it moves across the border, then it's going to be a positive one. So what are you going to do in step number 1 of converting the formula? What you do, you're going to do payment, okay, plus the taxes equals income times it by GDS. Okay, so what I've done right now, that's a tax. Taxes. There we go. That's better. So what you've done, you took this and you just moved it towards the payment. So the first one is moved. Okay, so taxes is already moved. Okay, next one. What else do we have to move? I want my income by itself. Okay, I want my income by itself. Okay, so if I want my income by itself, that means I need to also move the GDS on the other side. How do I move it? If it's multiply, I have to move the GDS as divide. Right, so basically I'm going to do step number 2. Payment plus tax stays the same. Now I'm going to move the GDS, so I'll divide it by GDS. Okay, and now I have income on its own. So now I'm happy. Do you follow me? Okay, so that's good. So now pull up everything what you have in the question. Do we have taxes? Yes, taxes is 600 per annum per year, so that's good so far. I'll just write down the new formula, okay? So 600 is the taxes, okay? Payment is what we don't have. That's what we're going to be looking for. And then I need my GDS, and GDS in this question is 28%. So I have everything. It's the same idea, okay, as the other question. So we need to find the payment, put it into the formula, plus the taxes divided by GDS. That's it. So how do you find the payment? We already pulled out the information out of the question. We have a J2 equals 11.75, payments are monthly. We have a loan of 42.5, 25 years amortization, okay? Let's start with the comfort zone. Let's do our J's. First, let's convert it. 11.75 shift norm. 2 shift PYR shift effective. 12 shift PYR shift norm. Mine came up to 11.4722. Okay, so this is what I got. So far, so good. Cross off by PYR. And 25 years. So when you do 25 shift, and it'll come up as 300 in there. That's good. PV is 42,500 PV. 0 plus minus future value. And then press payment. My payment come up as a negative 431.13. Okay, that's what I got for my payment. Because we found the payments using our formula, we have to increase it to the next highest cent. So what's the next highest cent is 431.14. Now, you don't really need to plug it back in. We just need to take that payment and plug it into this formula. Now, what's this payment? This is a monthly payment because everything was monthly, right? So can you take that to 431.13? Can you just put it plus 600 and divide it by 28? Yes or no? No, why not? Because that payment has to be per year. Income is per year, taxes are per year, payment also has to be per year. So what do you do? On top of your screen, you go for the next highest cent. And when you do that multiplication stuff, make sure that you do it with a positive number. So instead of 13, you're going to do 14. Okay, so next highest cent times it by 12. So 431.14, which is next highest cent, let's do that right now. 431.14 times it by 12, press equals The payment came up to 5,173.68. And that is the payment. We're going to put it right now into this formula. So you're going to put this 5,173.68, okay, into the formula. So while you have it on your screen, you just do regular plus 600. So plus 600. Press equals. Always press equals before you divide, okay? Then divided by 28. Press divide 28%, okay? Press regular equals again. And it should come up to 20,620.28, okay? So that's what I got. 20,620.29, doesn't matter. We're good. We're good. We finished the hardest question out of the whole class. Some people will have to come back to this question over and over again, but that's okay. You know, it's only one like this, and it's not a common one anyway, so you never know. So we finished everything to do with your loan to value ratio, GDS, everything else. It's all done. This is just the last part. And this part is one of the easiest ones. People like it. And this is the part that talks about the stress test. Stress test is what's happening right now at the banks, okay? You come to the bank, and they say, sure, our rate right now is 2%. And you're like, oh, yeah, this is awesome. But in order for them to qualify you for that 2%, they will put the stress test on you. So what it means, they're not going to just qualify you for 2%, they will add additional 2% on top of it. So instead of qualifying you for 2%, they will qualify you for 4%. Just make sure that if the rates in the future go up, you still will be able to afford those mortgage payments. And that's what the stress test is about. On the exam, they also call it the benchmark interest rate. So when they refer to the benchmark rate, it's the same thing as a stress test. Fancy words means the exact same thing. Now, who applies this test? If you come, let's say, to Coast Capital right now, right, which is not a bank, then they will not be using this. This is only applicable to the banks, okay? So stress testing, right, is a client's budget involves an analysis of how the clients will be able to manage the certain variances. So if the rate changes or whatever that is, so they want to make sure that you will be, you'll be able to afford it. How easily can the client afford a 2 or 3 percentage point increase? This is sometimes comes up on the exam. And they will ask you, how do we call this? When the bank decides to, when the client can afford a 2 or 3 percentage point increase in the interest rate, what's the name of this? So they will ask you for this. Stress test is the answer, or it could be a benchmark interest, which means the exact same thing, okay? Understand the client's liquid assets, if the client's income becomes interrupted for the 3 or 6 months. So understand, so if something happens to you, and if your income gets interrupted by those, the 3 to 6 months, can you still afford your mortgage payments, right? So this is what the stress test is all about, stress test. Okay, so I know it's an easy question. We just talked about this one, but on the exam, they usually like to give you this one. The mortgage broker is considering how her client would be affected if her income were become interrupted for the 6 months. Do you see the keywords? That's it. As long as they talk about interruption, we know that as a stress testing. Nice and simple, okay? Or it could be called the benchmark. Let's do the question 14. It's also a very simple question because a lot of you guys will have a math question on stress test. Some of you guys will have just a written question, just what we just had. Okay, so the borrower approaches the bank for the mortgage loan that has a 80% loan to value ratio. Contract rate is 3.5 per annum. So you need to find in those type of questions, what is the contract rate? So how much is the bank basically offers you? That's the contract rate, right? So the bank offers you right now is 3.5%, okay? Compounded semi-annually. So this is the bank of yours that you're coming to, okay? And then what they will do, they'll do that stress test on you, right? And they'll compare that to the Bank of Canada posted 5-year rate, which is 4.7. They're always going to call that the Bank of Canada's rate, right, for 5-year rate. So don't worry about that stuff. But that's something that they compare that to. So 4.7 compounded semi-annually. So basically they said, look, in order for us to know how much we can, in order for us to test you, make sure that you can afford this mortgage payments, the bank's rate, so Bank of Canada rate right now is 4.7%, okay? We offer 3.5, but we have a stress test. What is that stress test talks about? Then if we add the 2% to our contract rate, okay, let's see how much it comes up to. So if you do 3.5 plus 2, that gives you 5.5, isn't it? Okay? So the banks will test you, and they say, okay, so let's see what the rate will come up to. And they said, our bank rate is 5.5, and the Banks of Canada is 4.7. Which one, whatever is the highest out of those two, that's the one that they're going to approve you for. That's the one they're going to challenge you for. So what will happen in the questions, you have to find the contract rate. You have to add the 2% to that, which is a stress test, right? It will give you a number. And then you will take that number and compare that to the Canada, to Banks of Canada rate and see which one is the highest one. Whatever is the highest one, that's the one that they will challenge you for. That's the one they're going to try to approve you for. So that's why the answer in this case is going to be 5.5 because it is higher than 4.7, which is the Banks of Canada rate. That's it. That's all you do. Let's do one more. Okay. Jake wants to purchase a house that is listed for $276,000. The bank appraiser estimates that the lending value of the property is $275,000. We need that. J gross annual income is $50,000 per year. The bank applies 80% loan to value ratio. And the gross service ratio of 32. Taxes $1,800 per year. 25 years amortization. Monthly payments. Contract rate is J2 equals 4.2, and the Bank of Canada's posted 5-year rate is 5%. So we have two rates to compare to. Now, how much Jake borrows given the stress test borrower qualification? So you'll see that stress test in here, and you will see that Bank of Canada posted rate, right? You'll see all that stuff in here. So it's your job to take those two rates and compare them, okay? Compare them, and then what will you do? Okay. then you will know which one to use. Now, because this question involves your loan to value ratio, okay, and involves your PIG formula, because it has the GDS in there, so let's work on those two steps, and when we get to your calculation of a mortgage, we'll use the stress test in here. Let's work on step one, which is the easy one. Find the lending value. Lending value was 275,000, so let's use that one. 275,000 times it by loan to value ratio, which is 80%. Okay, let's see how much that comes up to. Maybe we don't even have to use any other stuff. 80%, okay, comes up to 220,000. Okay, so 220,000, that's your first constraint. So what do? You look back at the question and say, okay, do I have it? Yes, I do. Is that the lowest one? Not really. It's actually the highest one, so I'll have to do all this stuff. Okay, so what do you do now? You use your formula. How do you know which one? That is your personal income. It has a GDS in here of 32%. You know it's not the commercial stuff, so I'll cross off commercial, and we'll use our formula in here, okay? So pull up your income, pull up your GDS. Let's find the payment first, okay? What's the income in the question? Income, how much is it? 32, I see everything except the income. Oh yeah, 50,000, it's right here. So 50,000 is the income. Times it by 32%. Which is the GDS, minus the taxes, which is 1,800 per year. Everything is per year, so payment will come up as per year too. So do 50,000 times it by 32%, okay? Minus 1,800, it will come up to 14,200. That's your payment per year. What's the payments frequency in the question? They say payments to be made. Where's the payments? Help me out. Where's my payments? Monthly payments, okay? So payments are monthly. So what do you do with that 14,200? That is your payment per year. You wanna divide it by 12 to get it per month. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. So take that 14,200 divided by 12, and my monthly payment comes up as 1,183.333. Right? Lots of threes again. So I'll take that payment, I'll plug it in here. Do we have to change that payment to anything else? Do we have to increase it to the next highest cent? Not really. Why not? Because we found that payment manually without using this, right? So if you increase it by 1 cent, don't you worry, it's not going to change anything. So I would just press plus minus and I'll press PMC just to put that in. Okay, now this is where we get to that stress testing thing, because now we have to figure out which rate do we use in here? Okay, what do we use? So let's pull up the two rates in here. I'll put the Bank of Canada rate on the top, and the Bank of Canada is J2 equals 5%. Do you see that? Okay, so 5%, that's a bank's rate, Bank of Canada. And then the contract rate is J2 equals 4.2%. What do we do with the contract rate? How do we stress test it? We have to add the 2% on top of it to see how much it comes up to. So if I add the 2% to that, it will come up as a 6.2%. And now you look and see which one is the higher one, okay? Is that a Bank of Canada or is that the contract rate plus 2? Which one is the higher number? Which one is the highest one? That's the one that you will use for your question, okay? That's the one that they're going to pre-approve you for. So out of those two, definitely 6.2 is the highest one. So you would forget about this one and you would use the 6.2 in here. Okay, so let's do the in-Pepin. From 6.2 J2, two payments are monthly. Let's see how much we come up to. So 6.2 shift nom, 2 shift PYR shift effective, 12 shift PYR shift nom. My conversion came up to 6.1214. Okay, so this is what I got. So when I took that from J2, converted to J12, it comes up to this. So Pepin is finished. So you don't use this in any way. Okay, you just compare that. Cross off your IYR, PYR. Future value 0. Okay, N is for how many years? 25. Shift N. Okay, so let's do the N. So 25 shift N will come up as 300. Okay, same. Skip the present value payment. Hopefully you already plugged that in. If you haven't, plug it in now. Right, future value 0 plus minus future value, and then press your PV. Press PV. My PV came up to 181,564.47. Okay, and this is what they can lend you based on this stress test, based on this higher rate than what they offer you in the beginning. Okay, so the answer will be to the nearest $10. That one is the closest one, right? Option number 4. Perfect. Let's do one more. Last math question. Question 16. We have a young girl who applies for a bank to get a mortgage loan and able to purchase a home. Her income is $55,000. The bank informs that they will apply 32% GDS. Service ratio calculating the loan. Then the mortgage contract rate will be 4.1%. That's the bank that offers them. Compounded semi-annually for 20 years amortization. The Bank of Canada posted 5 years rate will be 4.65. And payments to be made monthly. Annual property tax is $2,000. What's the maximum mortgage loan will be granted given the stress test? So as soon as you see that stress test, you know what they will be doing to you, right? Stress test. Okay, before we get to this side, before we do the stress test, let's figure out this side. Maybe we don't have to do nothing if this is the lowest answer. So do we have a loan to value ratio in this question? Do we have 70, 80% that's given to us? Do we have a lending value in this question? Too bad, nothing. So that means they don't want you to do nothing here. They just want you to work on this side. Okay, so is that a commercial or residential? It's definitely residential. It talks about taxes. It talks about the girl. So we're going to cross off your commercial, and we will be using your PIG minus tax formula. So let's manually find the payment first. Okay, so we need the income, GDS, and taxes. So what do we have in here? What's the income in this question? Okay, the income is $55,000 per year, which is good. Times it by GDS, which is 32%, and the taxes are $2,000. Okay, so let's figure out how much the annual payment will come up to. So 55,000 times it by 32% minus the 2,000. equals, I got 15,600. So that's your payment per year, right? That's a yearly payment. That's what you got so far. So 15,600, that's a payment per year. What do they want? Okay. Payments to be made monthly. So payments are 12. So if payments are monthly, then what do you do with that payment? You're going to divide that payment by, divided by 12, right? So you're going to divide that 15,600. You're going to divide it by 12 and see how much it comes up to. I got 1,300 PMT, right, per month. So that's my monthly payment, so 1,300. Because we used this formula and we did manually math, right? We didn't use the InPep and stuff. We didn't use our buttons to find it. Keep that payment as is. If you increase it, it's up to you. It's not going to hurt you. So I would do plus minus, and I would just press PMC. So that payment of $1,300 already sitting in my calculator right now because I did plus minus PMC. Okay. So now we're going to be looking for a present value, okay? Because we need to see how much money the bank will lend her. But because it's a stress test question, that means you have to pull out the two J's and see which one is what. Which one is the highest one? That's what the stress is. So we're going to compare the Bank of Canada rate that's given to us, and it's given to us as 4.65. Okay. Posted 4.65, and the other rate is 4.1 compounded semi-annually. Okay, so we have, let me just pull up this stuff. 4.65 is the Bank of Canada rate, and the bank's rate right now is J2 equals 4.1. Okay, so we have two rates that we have to compare it to. So what do you add the 2% to? You add it to the contract rate, not to the Bank of Canada rate, right? This is already set up one. So what you do right now, they're going to test you and say, okay, so what happens when we add the 2% to that rate? Okay, what would happen? That means we have to pre-approve you at 6.5%. So look and see which one is the highest one. Between the Bank of Canada rate and between the contract rate plus 2% for stress test, see which one is the highest one. The one that is the highest one, that's the one that you're going to pre-approve that person for. So definitely 6.5 is beating this one. So what you're going to use in here, you're going to use that J2, because it's semi-annually, at 6.1. So this is the one that you will be using right now. Okay, that's it. This is what the stress test is all about. You just have to figure out which rate to use in the question, and that's it. So let's do the impact right now. 6.1 shift nom, 2 shift PYR shift effective, 12 shift PYR shift nom. I got 6.0238 something. Okay, so that's what I got, 6.02. Nice and close, not too far. So cross off those AVYRs and PYR keys for you. Okay, future value 0 N. What do we have? Is for 20 years amortization, so 20 shift N. Okay, so let's do this first after you finish the impact. So 20 shift N. Comes up is 240 months. Okay, skip the PV payment. If you haven't plugged it in, do that right now. Future value, 0 plus minus future value, and then press your PV. Mine came up as 181,106.37. Okay? If I look back at the answer, so this is how much they can lend her based on her income, including the stress test at 6.1%. So yes, the answer came up to option number 2, right? It matches it. It's perfect. So we're done with all the math questions on the stress test and all the other stress test questions. Now I'm going to show you some other written questions that you have to know, unfortunately, right? Because they're like to test you on them too. Okay. So we're going to start with those questions now. They are not too complicated, but you still have to know them. So the risk to the mortgagee. Now, who is a mortgagee? If it's 2 E's, that's your lender. Okay, so that's your lender. Lender has 2 E's in the word, right? So just remember that part. So a risk to the mortgagee can be reduced. So how do you make him safer? How do you make the lender feel better? Okay. If I have to go back in the question we just finished, okay, and I had to do first pre-approval based on the mortgage, okay, we had a lending value times it by the loan to value ratio, okay, so we had that. And if I give you a loan to value ratio of 80% or the 70%, as a lender, which one would they prefer? So if that was a $1 million, just an example, because visual examples are good, okay, how much does the lender have to lend you here? $800,000. How much does he have to lend you here? Only $700,000. So if you were the lender, how do you protect yourself? By giving you a higher or lower loan to value ratio. What would you do with this one? Okay, you definitely want to give them what? You want to give them the lowest one. So this option would be safer for the lender because they only have to lend you $700,000 and they will ask you to put a deposit of $300,000, right? So the lower the loan to value ratio, the more they reduce the risk. So that makes sense, okay? If I had to look at my second formula, which is the PIG formula, okay? Payment equals income times it by GDS minus the tax, okay? So GDS is what I'm looking for, okay? If in one scenario, the lender gives you GDS of 30% and the other one's 32%, actually, let's keep it lower, 28%, okay? So if we have 2 examples, you know what the lender would prefer, okay? The smaller your payment, the more affordable the mortgage is, the more you can afford. So for that reason, he doesn't want you to have a larger payment. So what he would prefer to do, he would like to give you, same idea, he would like to give you a lower GDS than the higher one. So the lower he gives you, the less money you'll be able to take towards your mortgage payments. That's it, keep it simple. So that's exactly the same idea. So in order for him to be safer on the residential side, he wants to give everything lower. Lower loan to value ratio and a lower GDS. On the commercial, DCR should be increased, but don't worry about that. Okay, let's see what we have in here. Increasing the amortization, the more he increases amortization, that's not the security, okay? Reducing the monthly payments, that's not what they're aiming for. They're aiming for those 2 things. Reducing the loan to value ratio, which is true, or reducing the debt coverage. Debt coverage ratio is a DCR. DCR is the commercial side. And on the commercial side, it's opposite. The higher the DCR, it's better, Okay, so keep it simple. As long as they talk about the loan to value ratio or the GDS, has to be lower. Okay, so for that reason, option 3 is the better one, because reducing the loan to value ratio is the option that we want. Okay, next one. Okay, did we see that? The lender who attempted the ratio mortgage funds could. So the same, I know, it's how to phrase the questions. I think that's the tricky part. Like, who speaks like that now? Lenders who are attending to ratio mortgage funds. So basically, it's the same thing as how did they, when they giving you a question with the lenders, is how do they protect themselves? That's it. It's always the same stuff. Decreasing, decreasing, increasing, or increasing. So what do they have to decrease? They have to decrease their interest rate on the mortgage loans? Not really. Decreasing their gross debt service ratio. Remember our second example in there? Okay, the GDS, gross debt service ratio, that's residential. That one they want to decrease too. So that would be a better option. Okay, so when they refer to decreasing GDS, then that's good. Okay, only on the commercial DCR has to be increased. Increase loan to value, no, loan to value should be lower, and increase the maximum amortization. So it doesn't really matter. It's not about amortization, it's not about the payment, it's about the DCR, loan to value ratio stuff, and GDS. Okay, question 19, the loan to value ratio is the ratio off. Okay, so instead of giving you the math question, they just say, what's the loan to value ratio stands for, right? So they're looking for the percentage. What was the formula? Okay, if I have to tell you mortgage equals lending value times by the loan to value ratio, remember that? How do you get this out of this formula? Okay, you would have to move this on the opposite side, what would divide. So you will take mortgage divided by the lending value, and that will give you the LTV formula, right? So loan to value ratio. This would be your formula. That's how you would reverse it. So if they're looking for the loan to value ratio, but in the written version, it has to be mortgage divided by the lending value. Okay, not option 1. Actual amount of the mortgage could be divided by the actual value of the property. Actual value, what is that? Weird, but maybe. Market value of a mortgage divided by the market value of a property. No, lending value. Option 4, a face value of a mortgage divided by the lending value. So out of the options 2 and 4, which one is the better sounds to you? Face value divided by the lending value, or actual mortgage, what is actual mortgage, divided by the actual value. So it has to be lending value. So option 4 is a better option in here. Okay, that one is the one that you want. Fun. Question 20, with respect to an insured mortgage loan. One of the following statements is false. So I want to make sure that you understand what is an insured mortgage. I have to explain you that. Because insured mortgage is something we haven't covered yet. But insured mortgage usually applies for people who don't have enough down payment. Okay? So if the standard down payment is 20% and you put in less than this, then you will have to buy an insurance on top of your mortgage. Okay? Is it going to cost you a lot of money? Yes, it will be. Would they add that insurance inside of your payments? Oh, yes, they will. So that means your payments will increase too. But lenders, would they feel safer when you pay for the insurance? What's the insurance good for? First of all, for whose protection is that insurance for? So let's say if I'm buying a house and I don't have my 20% down payment, let's say I don't have it, then I will have to be buying an insurance. For whose protection? Mine or the lender? It's not about you, it's about the lender, right? So he's trying to be safe with you. So it's for the lender's protection. And if you default on the mortgage payments, what does the lender do? The insurance will pay the lender everything. So the lender will be safe. And a lot of times, because it's an insured mortgage, the lender might give you a better rate then, too, right? On top of it, because you're paying so much extra for the insurance, sometimes they'll offer you a better rate, just because, right? Because they know that they will be safe no matter what. If you default, insurance will pay for the full amount to the lender. Okay, so that's the foundation of this. So default insurance is paid by the borrower. Is that true? Yes, it is. They're looking for the full statements, not this one. Okay. Option 2, the rate of interest on uninsured loans tend to be lower than the comparable uninsured loans. As I said to you, even though in real life probably not, but for the exam purposes, sometimes insured mortgages will be at a lower rate, just because the banks knows that they will be covered no matter what. Right. So that could be an option, but let's keep it. If the borrower defaults, the insurance company will guarantee that the lender will recover all of the capital invested. Even though it sounds strong, but it's true. And that's the point of the insured mortgage, because the lender will be guaranteed by the insurer that the insurance will pay them. So that is true. They're looking for the full statements. Option 4, the lender has only the personal covenant of the borrower and the value of the property for security. So basically they're saying, just because you pay for the insurance, and if you default, we'll come after you other things. Is that what you pay for the insurance, so they can come after you still? No. You're paying for the insurance so the insurance will pay for you. So there's no personal covenant stuff that they can come after when it comes to insured mortgage. So if you just remember that part, that's how it becomes a true, that's a false statement, but that's the one you're choosing in here. Because the lender can not come only after your personal, no, he'll come after the insurance. Okay? For that reason, option 2 is true. Sometimes you could get a lower rate, but there's no personal covenants when you pay for the insurance. The whole reason for you to pay the insurance is nobody comes after your personal stuff, and insurance pays for the lender. Okay, option 4 is a false statement. Question 21. Actually, put a star next to this question. It's a very common question on the exam. So what is a lending value? We talked about different things before. So let's say you come to the bank and you said the house was listed for 1.5 and I want to buy it. I put an offer for 1.3 million, but the lender comes back and says, my lending value to you will be only $1 million based on appraisal. Okay? Why does the lender wants to give you not 1.5, not 1.3? Why is it always $1 million? Why is it usually lower than what it was listed for, how much the offer came up to? So on exam, when they're looking for the word lending value, there's one keyword that you have to look for. Why does the lender want to give you more money? Because it's more what? It's a security to him. The less money he gives you, the better he will be, right? The safer he will be. So on exam, when they're referring to the lending value, then you're looking for that security as the keyword. So long-term conservative of the value of the interest pledge in the lend of the security, right? So that's the option 2 that they're looking for. That's the answer. Okay, next one. You have to know what balloon payments are. Balloon payments, remember we talked about when we had the accelerated biweekly payments. Now what is this? That's when the lender lets you pay off your mortgage faster. So we have different ways of paying off mortgage faster. And sometimes, let's say you took a mortgage with a 5 years term, that's a 5T, right? And the lender says, you know what, we're gonna let you to do balloon payments. So that's an option for you to pay off. What are you trying to pay off? Look at the options in here. Are you trying to pay off your mortgage, which is your principal, or are you trying to pay off your interest option? Nobody's trying to pay off the interest. So for that reason, whatever has an interest in it, cross it off, because we don't pay off interest. We're trying to pay off your principal, which is your mortgage. So it's between option number 2 and number 3. So what is a balloon? Balloons is when you can put a chunk of money. Let's say you got a commission or whatever, and then you can put that chunk of money towards your mortgage. Your mortgage will let you know how many of those balloons you can do. But in this question, it's just asking you, when can you do those balloon payments? Okay? You can do balloon payments at any time during the term or at the end of the term. Okay? So if I look at option 1, it says principal, which is good, over and above the regular payments, where they occurs during or at the end. Okay? So that's option number 2. So you can do that during or at the end of the loan term, which is good. And option 3, it says principal over and above the regular periodic payments, I don't know what's the periodic ones, but only when it occurs at the end of the loan term. So you see, that's what the problem is. It's not only at the end. It can happen at any time. So you would choose option number 2 as the answer. Okay, that's the one. Question 23. Okay, last one. That's it. No more. Which of the following statements regarding the repayments and refinancing methods are the false statements? Always check and see what they're asking you for. So if they want false, okay, let's look for them. Look at option A. It says variable rate mortgages. Now, do you understand what that is, variable? A lot of times people go to the banks and they say, you know what, bank, let's say bank's rate right now is at 3%, okay? And you said, can I just fix it all the way for 5 years? I want a fixed rate, okay? What does that mean? That means you're going to be in the contract with the bank for 5 years and you will be fixed at that 3%, okay? But let's say 2 years pass by and you says, oh my gosh, everybody else is getting at 1.2% right now and I'm fixed at 3%. So can you get out of the 2% without any penalties and get that better rate of yours? No, okay? So this is what happens, and that's why in real life, I don't like to be on a fixed rates. I like to be on a variable rate. Variable rate is when it will fluctuate. So that means if I want to get out, especially on the open mortgage, so that means there's no terms in there. Usually for the exam purposes, they say if somebody wants to apply for the variable rate, okay, if somebody wants to apply for the variable rate, okay, this is when the rate will go up, will go down, it will fluctuate. It will fluctuate during the things, and it's open, that means there's no contract in there with the bank. Who usually goes on those type of mortgages? I do. I do have a lot of investments still, but a lot of people who don't want to be in a commitment, okay? This is a commitment. This is a penalty because it's fixed for 3 years, or so for 5 years, and if you want to get out, you'll have to pay huge penalties. Like, yeah, pay huge penalties in there, okay? So variable ones, that's when you don't pay, and if it's open mortgage, you don't pay any penalties in there, okay? It fluctuates. And when it fluctuates, yeah, sometimes you'll pay more, sometimes you'll pay less, and the payments also will fluctuate too with that. Just for the exam purposes, know that payments will also adjust. If the rate goes up, payments goes up. So let's see what happens. It says variable rate mortgage is open. Any principal repayment above an agreed upon freehold will attract the interest penalty. Now, just because it says interest penalty, is that true? Will attract the interest penalty? That's definitely false. Why? Because it does not attract on a variable rate mortgages. It will attract on a fixed one. Okay, so if it's a fixed rate, then yes, it will, but not on a variable one. Okay, it's like one of those relationships, you know, you want to get in and out, it's up to you, no penalties. But if it's a marriage, then you're on a term, you're on a contractual relationship, and there's a lot of penalties there. Okay, graduated, you've done that before with me in the first class. You still remember that? Graduated, it says the payments will increase. Is that true? Yes, it is. What is a graduated? That's where the students start with the smaller payments, and with years the payments will increase, and that's the true statements. Variable rate again. What do they say now about the variable rates? And it says the interest rate will change periodically, but required payments is never changed. Okay, what we just talked about, that the payment's also going to change. So for that reason, it's also a false statement. Right? Payments will change and the rate will change. Right? They will fluctuate. Okay. D option, it talks about reverse annuity mortgage. I explained that to you guys in the mortgage law. That was your law chapter. You can come back to that one if you want. We call it the RAM mortgages. My mortgage people, we're going to do a math class 8, and we're going to do math from this. My real estate people, no math. Okay? You just have to know what happens. It's usually the elderly people, somebody who's equity rich, mortgagor. Mortgagor is a borrower. Equity rich, that means they have a lot of equity. They bought a house 50 years ago for $50,000, that's worth $1 million. Lots of equity, okay? And the banks like to approach those people. They say, look, you don't have to sell your house. You may postpone selling your house. So that means you can stay in that property and you can just get those payments from us. And that's why it's reversed, because it's the lender who gives the payments to the borrower, okay? So that is a true statement, because the whole reason of that they may postpone it, they don't need to sell it because the lender will give them payments on a monthly basis, and that will supplement their income, so they don't have to move, okay? So they're looking for full statements, so A and C is the option that they're looking for, right? So option 2 is the answer. Okay, that's it. So you just finished your math class number 6. Congrats. My real estate people, that's it. No more math like that anymore. You still have math class 7 left. My mortgage people, math class 8 still coming. It's easy, right? So it's all easy stuff now, but guess what? You just officially finished pretty much all of the math, which is amazing. I'm so proud of you. And by now, I'm hoping that you're going to get more math on the exam than the law, because you already know, if you've done the law, that this is so much better and so much easier, okay? I'm going to wish you to have more math in your exam, right? If you still don't like the math, practice on this, it'll come to you. But in the end of the day, math is what saves people in the exam. That's what gets you to those 80s and 90%, because it gives you solid marks, okay? Good job. Just finish your homework for this class. Do your math class 7. Melanie will go back and forth between those questions. I know it's not the best class, but you'll go through that, and that's it. Then you can get into your mock exams or your law chapters, whatever you do, okay? Good job. Proud of you. We finished the math. For real estate people, mortgage people, you have one more class with me.